So I'm Lynn Fels. I've been the academic editor of Educational Insights since 2001. But there are so many people in this room, let alone out there in the ABER world, who have been involved with Educational Insights. It's a developmental journal. Once upon a time, it was a print journal in 1991. It was a student journal. It was developed to give graduate students an opportunity to be involved in publishing and to get their work published. However, in 1995, the Dean of Education, and it comes out of UBC, University of British Columbia, pulled the plug on the funding and said, sorry, no more money is available. May sound familiar in today's economics. And so the two editors at the time, Gary Raspberry and David Tenberg, said, all right, what do we do? What do we do? And there was something brand new called the internet. And they went online. And my very first article as a graduate student had just been accepted by Educational Insights. And I was appalled. I remember a group of us who had had our papers accepted going, oh, this is a nightmare because we won't be able to hold it in our hands and give it to our mom and dad and grandmother. Well, that article, published in 1995, is still available online, whereas who knows where the copies are of the original ones. So when I came on board in 2001, we just had a new director, Karen Meyer, at the Center for the Study of Curriculum and Instruction. And she said, Lynn, come on board, work with some of the profs and a lot of grad students, and let's reimagine, let's revision Educational Insights. And let's open it up to all scholars, old and new, experienced and young, and let's see what happens. And the other thing that we talked about was the importance of creating a space online, a publishing space, for those of us who were entering into what was pretty much a brand new field of arts-based research, narrative inquiry, performative inquiry, autobiography, artography, and to create that kind of conversation that Alan was talking about so that we could hear what each other was doing. And it's been such a gift for me to work with grad students and with professors to follow through and see that work mature. Educational Insights has gone from being simply text online to bringing in the images, bringing in video, bringing in audio, and so anything goes pretty much in Educational Insights. What have you got there? Performing repair. So I'll just give two examples. Performing repair of the kind of work that we are publishing. So these are two professors who are guest editors. So all our issues are themed, and our guest editor were Mark Westbrook and Marla Arve, or Buchanan, in the Department of Counseling and Psychology Education. And they're very interested in the possibilities of using performance, exploring through performance to come to a place of healing, transformation. And they called it Performing Repair. This is probably the best issue to see what is possible with all the new digital possibilities in terms of media and video. If you go to Richard's on the Sorrow Group, Richard Harrison, he wrote a piece. Ruth means sorrow. When he was 2 years old, his mother died. And there was a gap in his life. And so he's now in his 30s, 40s, and he turned to the arts and explored. So in this autobiography pieces, if you want to call it up, through the arts, how to come to terms with the loss of his mother that he could only remember from the touch, like that loss of touch. And he did that through pulling out diaries, by creating musical pieces. And it's an extraordinary piece. And you can see there, for example, each one of those images will take you to a moment, an experience, whether it's a poem or singing a song. And then it's all in its wholeness. He comes in his own experience of creating this piece to an understanding, to a place of reconciliation in that loss. other piece in there is by a young woman who came from where you have come, actually, Taiwan, and to Canada, and was wrestling with that whole experience of who am I? You know, what's my identity? How do I understand it? And she created a piece to explore that. And what they were discovering, what was very exciting about the work we do in art-based research, is that it can come to a place of transformation or restoration, as Elizabeth Lynn will talk about. So that's one example. And then Pauline is here, and there's just been this whole new exciting birth of poetic inquiry. Yeah. The gateway shows the 4 most recent issues, and one of them is poetic inquiry. Carla and Pauline and Monica Prendergast.
Right here?
Right there, coming up. Yeah. So this is the introduction. And it opens, all of our pieces open with animation. So if there's any animators. And it's amazing that this hotel does not have better access to the internet. So it opens with animations. This piece says, hey, poetic inquiry is a way of being in research, inquiring through poetry, through poetic engagement, poetic spaces. So those are 2 examples of the kind of leading edge work that Educational Insights has been doing. And there's also a recent issue on teacher inquiry, where teachers doing their own research in their classrooms from K to 12 are also publishing. So Educational Insights has really been like, I don't know if anyone here sails, but there's a particular class of sailboat called the International 14, and it's a development sailboat. And so you can do anything you want to this sailboat to make it go faster and faster and faster. And we have one from 1976, which is a long time ago. And we were sailing up to Jericho Beach, and a man in his 75 came running down. He said, "What year is that boat? It's so exciting." He said, "I sailed back in the 1940s. And he said, "I was in a sailboat race, and I saw a man swing out on this contraption, and it was the first time in a race that a trapeze, sailing a trapeze is swung out. Now they've got both the skipper and the trapeze, the crew swinging out." All right, so you're leaning out over the gunnels of your boat over the sea. The reason I mentioned that is because we've now got the captain swinging out on the trapeze in Educational Insights. After 10 years, I've decided to step down, and I'm very happy to announce that Teresa Dobson, who's at UBC in the Language and Literacy Department, who is amazing in terms of her work in e-literature and the whole possibilities of digital literacy, has come on board. And with the new editor, we're rebranding, and there's a brand new name for Educational Insights. However, it will always be online in archives. I do encourage you to keep going back to that work, because I agree with you, you know, that gap, that's where it is in all of our journals here. The gap is in those years, so we need to go back to those archives, because those are those seminal pieces in our areas. Anyway, the new journal, if you go to mediaculturepedagogy.com, that's its new name, Media Culture Pedagogy, and I do have handouts for that. And it's just as we created the space to explore arts-based research and rethinking what education is, kind of punching out the walls to remember that education, as Dewey said, is about experience, about living in the world. And so Educational Insights as media, culture, and pedagogy is looking at the digital humanities. We can't do anything now without being involved with a digital footprint, fingerprint. And so the first issue that's going to be launched in a couple of weeks is called Born Digital. And we're really excited, because what it does is move us from educational insights into this media culture pedagogy. So Anita, it fits right in. Dan, it fits right in terms of this enormous revolution that's been happening in our world in terms of literacy and expression and creative arts. And so that's my invitation to you. It'll be up in a couple of weeks.
Any quick questions for Lynn?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So, Educational Insights is now going to be this one? It's not?
Yeah, it's a new name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same ambition in terms of what's new, what's exciting, what's revolutionary. So again, all the platforms will be available.
Do you have how long can articles be for this?
Oh, that's such an interesting question, because when you're online, they can be short, as Marnie was saying, and they can be long. So perhaps I say as long as it takes for you to explore.
The patent teacher.
Well, I can be very long. I'm old, I love to say.
Yeah.